Local units.
Hello, it's TruthSOSeeker. I'm back with you guys for another game of 1v1. I have I guess a rather instructive game this time around for you guys. See, I'm playing against the amazing Dalto, playing as Shipmaster again. And you see, he's running Colony, and I figured this would be a good game to really get across the weaknesses of Colony and why I think he is actually a really bad leader. Potentially. I don't think he played him quite as good as he could have, but I can definitely show the weaknesses that Colony very well does have. So, the thing with Colony that separates him from other leaders, in particular, is the fact that he does not have a teleport. He does not have any type, whereas, like a Shipmaster, he has teleport, he has extract, he has displacement, he has the tactical gateway, he has 4 ways to move around the map very fast. Whereas Colony, in addition to not having a teleport available to him, his units are rather slow, and this is killing for him, because while his units, I believe, can fight very well against other armies, he just in general can't actually keep up with them. Like, they just always outmaneuver him, and I feel like this is just crushing to him, at least in 1v1. Maybe the situation's different in something like 2v2 or 3v3, but at least as far as 1v1 goes, this is not the case, it seems. I feel, at the very least, I think his strongest option, if you were to try and play Colony, would be to try and rush in the beginning. Because if you do that, then, first off, Suicide Grunts aren't that effective against Goliaths. So that means that they would need to rely on Rangers. And since Rangers are Tech 2, if you hit them before they hit Tech 2 and can get a good bit of Rangers out, you could try and make a rush work that way. Plus, if you're actually hitting the opponent's base with Colony, then they kind of have to deal with you. They can't just kind of outmaneuver you in a sense, because you have building killers, you're on his base, he needs to address it somehow, and I think that may be the strongest option you have. Therefore, as Shipmaster, your goal should be to always avoid engagements and try and avoid a rush by him, if you are aware that he's going for it. So, for example, if you see he's going heavy Goliaths, you may want to go heavy Ghosts. But you see, I'm going double generator to try and boom detect 2 because I'm expecting him to do some sort of hit on my base here. See, I'm trying to decap that node right now. I see he has a grunt coming in. He's going to try and get some shots off, but I'll just stop and start aiming at him. I'm also trying to cap my node at the same time. I believe it's the second point that allows me to capture a node with Ghost, so I can only really decap it right now. Yeah, I see he shows up with 2 more grunts, and at this point I'm like, I can't really stop him, but I'm going to try and at least ram and get some damage. And there, you see my Ghost clipped through the map, and he basically flew into space, and I'm just like watching all of what just happened. See, he clips through the floor, and he gets skyrocketed back through the map. I know I have delays and stuff, and I'm not building, but I mean, I was just kind of obsessed with this right now, and he jumps over his mini base. And it was just so beautiful. It was definitely worth losing the grunt or 2 to just not paying attention, because that was art in the making right there. Okay, so the magical Ghost managed to live. I'm getting Tech 2 now. I'm building some turrets because I saw he had some stuff. He had specifically engineers with skidders, and he had grunts. So that tells me that I'm going to need Reavers and Rangers. Of course, the natural build that Shipmaster wants to do anyway is Foundry and Raid Camp. So you can go Rangers, Locusts, and Reavers, the bread and butter combo of Shipmaster right now. But it's still worth noting what he had. because this really let me know what exactly I needed to build more of, per se. Because, for example, if he just went heavy Banshees or something, then I would know to prioritize Reapers or something. I go ahead and lock my base for now, just because I don't know if he's going to show up yet or not. I'm actually building a shield, because like I said in the beginning of the video, I think that Colony's strongest point in the game is actually the opening. So I'm really preparing for a hit, because I was kind of expecting him to go for a big hit on my base. Or at least, not expecting, but just being prepared for the worst, so to speak. So I'm scouting him out now with my Ghost. I have 2 Grunts going for his power nodes, just to try and fight for control of that. The shield should finish in time at this rate, because, I mean, he hasn't showed up yet, so I'm figuring, okay, it's going to get up. And see, he's on Tech 2. He's actually getting a 3rd generator, so he's going very heavy eco-wise, from what I saw. I see he's actually pulling his army back to kind of deal with my contention of the nodes. But, like I said, if he's ever not pushing on my base, I think this is a very, very good thing to have. And you should not be upset, even if it's like costing me a Grunt. First off, that Grunt decapped and managed to cap a node. Second of all, it drove his army back, so that was honestly an extremely good trade-off by me for him, if you ask me. Okay, so I'm going to scout now. I'm just seeing if he has an expo up. I'm thinking about expoing myself now. It's very possible we could stop it, but again, that expo is more of a diversion expo. If he tries to hit it, then at the very least it could be a time buyer. But yeah, I did check, and I see he's not on an expo yet, which okay, tells me that he has some sort of army, and again that he's potentially going for a big hit here. So I'm still trying to be cautious right now. I'm trying to expand, upgrade my stuff, and get troops out. I'm at least trying to be a little bit cautious here. I see he has his groups coming by here. Just gonna grab that mini base. I mean, I've been thinking about this more and more lately too. Is even though they nerfed mini bases, they nerfed their XP they give by 50% because they gave way too much. They definitely gave way too much season 1. But even now, I think honestly, even 50% of that's still a ridiculously high amount for only 200 supply. And honestly, it seems kind of stupid, but if you really wanted to grind for that later point, I could potentially see you just buying and self-destructing a mini base. It would cost you ultimately 100 supplies to do so, because you'd get half of your money back, so it'd be 100 supplies each. And since it gives out so much XP, I could honestly see a grind being possible with that. But yeah, so like, me grabbing the mini base on his side, I think is totally fine. Even if I don't necessarily get a whole lot of profit in terms of supplies. I mean, it acts as a scout, so I know if he ever tries to buy it. Plus, I get that little bit of leader point XP. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade that. If I can manage to get a shield on this base, by the way, then I actually would start to care about that base. Like I said, I'm mostly just having it in terms of backup or diversion. But if I would get a shield, then yeah, I would begin to believe I could actually hold it. So, I mean, I would still try to hold it anyway. It's just that I would not have complete faith that I'd be able to hold it otherwise. So I see sending a Banshee over to try and kill that Locust. So I'm going to go ahead and try and engage him with some of my stuff. See, I have this teleport ready because I'm expecting him to drop the leader eradication ability thing on me, and that thing does massive damage. So I'm always trying to be ready to teleport in the event that would actually happen. I see he has his units up here trying to cap nodes, so I'm going to try and just stand up on this ledge and get some good hits off. Going to try and kill that Banshee. I do manage to kill it, so that's another 300 supplies for me. Yeah, I guess I'm going to try and throw a shield up on this base now. I'm going to wait for the power to do that, I guess. Yeah, I think I'm going to move down into the middle now, because I don't see why I can't. Again, I'm going to try and avoid direct engagements with this army, using things like the ledges and just outspacing. Because I think that's, again, what you really need to try and do. But I'm going to try and sneak my way over to his side of the map, because if I can get him to be playing defensively, then that's going to benefit me a lot. that Banshee probably died. It looked like it was going to die, at least. Gonna try and recap that node. I know he has a good bit in the nodes, but I don't honestly think it's that big a deal. I mean, I've been fighting for them on and off, just trying to temporarily take one over and control it. But, I mean, more important than the actual nodes is, like I said, just making sure that your base isn't actually dying, or getting attacked, rather. Because, yeah, that's the absolute worst thing. Worst case scenarios is they're actually pushing on your base. So, yeah, you see I have some Locusts, I have some Reavers and Rangers. I'm going to try and go in for a push on his base here. I guess I'm first going to, check for Expos, because I'm concerned that he might have one or two of them. See, I have, I'm trying to mass take over the power nodes right now to try and, I guess, somewhat contest the middle. See, again, his units are somewhat slow, so he's having some trouble keeping up. I haven't spent my 4th leader point because I don't know if I'm going to need it or not yet. I guess, yeah, I guess it's fine to use it now because I didn't really foresee a big engagement in the near future. I mean, of course, he has some stuff here, but it's not that big. I dropped the Spirit support, especially Spirit Assault, because, yeah, I don't really have a lot of anti-vehicle right now, and that Hunter is going to be a very nice addition to the army. Of course, I mean, all of it's going to be a nice addition because it's a freaking broken drop. Literally everything about Spirit Assault is broken. Or not broken, but at least usable. But because everything is literally useful, it makes it kind of broken. I remember back to the good old days whenever everything was a 3-star, and oh, that was crushing. I mean, having a 3-star Hunter, 2 3-star Engineers, you could never kill those Engineers. They were so strong. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and aim his Foundry down. Honestly, I mean, I guess I could have aimed other things down as well. So he's dropping his Engineers, and I was thinking about engaging him, but I see his army's actually here now, so rather than doing a lot of damage to his base, I did complete what my primary goal was, and that goal was to make him drop back and play defense. Again, with the whole theme of avoiding conflict with him and keeping him off of my base, so with that objective done, I'm just going to pull everything out, try and keep as much alive as I can. My population's still pretty high, and I am on an expo, and I believe he is not. So honestly, with all that said, I think I'm still doing really well here. Very well. Maybe even winning at this point, honestly, because at this point, like, I'll have displacement up really soon. And if he ever tries to push again, I can always teleport to his side, displace his army, go for a base trade, and I should be faster in basically every scenario. You see I'm nearing 100 pop now. I actually have a good bit of control of the power nodes as well, which is interesting, considering his army is able to fight me directly, and yet he's basically outpositioned to the point where he can't actually keep control of the nodes consistently. See, I have sight on his army right now, which tells me maybe he's pushing back to the middle, so I'm getting my army together, getting ready for another teleport, so that I can try and hit his base again. I go ahead and get displacement, because I mean, that seems like the natural next thing I'm going to need here. But yeah, you can see, like, even those 2 Engineers, like, everything in that Spirit Assault is so good. It is so good. Like, I mean, all my units that were injured are basically healing now, and they're going to come back at full strength for the next engagement. See, I'm getting him up on this ledge. I was kind of waiting to see where his army was, because I didn't want to necessarily teleport until I had sight on him, so I know he didn't pull back, say, or something. Because that honestly may have been his best bet, to just pull back and play defense. But I go ahead and teleport over here, because I figure, okay, I have displacement, so if I engage his army, I can just displace. I'm on a triple now as well, so I think that's really going to benefit me here. But yeah, I look up at the mini-base, and I see he has his army up there, so that's I was really, really happy to see that, because that basically told me that I would be able to basically just go up to his main and start harassing that, and his army would be out of position to appropriately deal with that. Now, I know he has his beam back, so I'm trying to be somewhat cautious about when or about him using it, of course. So you see I'm moving my army around. I'm actually using the shields on my engineers because in the event he does drop it, I want to be ready. Honestly, maybe better would just be having an engineer selected and just waiting to see if he drops it, and if he drops it, using it, because that damage reduction, that might be significant, to be honest. And I think I should give that another shot. But if you look at his main, he actually has combat repair on, so his building is actually repairing as I'm attacking it. And I see his army is in the back there, so I'm wondering, honestly, if I'm going to be able to get this kill. Because he has the engineers on it, has combat repair, but just from the sheer number of these locusts and how quick they can kill stuff, I'm actually going to be able to save the space. Now, what I should have done here was actually just displace half of his army. I was thinking about extracting, and then I was going to displace, but I see he drops that beam on me, and I kind of panicked a little, so I just said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to throw everything out of my face here. Get out. I think I might have had Spirit Support ready, or Spirit Assault ready again, so I could have probably used that instead. I only say that because I would have gotten the engineers, and I can see them being useful. Because right now I don't have any of them left. I think they both died. But I did manage to drop his main, and since I'm on a triple, and develop triple at that, I mean, I'm pretty much winning. However, this is one of the, I think, almost iconic things about Colony, is, again, his army is stronger than mine, so direct engagements are going to be rather risky. So what I'm basically going to be doing here is I'm going to try to outposition him, basically. I have Teleport up, I have Extract up. So Extract is really something I wouldn't want to use unless I really needed to, because that's basically, I'm going to get sent the whole way back and it's going to take longer to end it. So I'm only going to really want to use that if it's a worst case scenario. You see, he's coming in here, and again, I'm trying to avoid direct engagements with him by backing up. And I'm going to try and use this little chasm of a rock here to try and hit from the other side. And basically just kind of poke at him. Obviously, I know he has that base, so I'm going to try and approach it. But he also knows that I'm going to try and approach it, so he's going to try and basically come back because he's more or less forced into it. One thing I should be worth noting is, since his base is so depleted, if I can pick off units like that Banshee I just picked off, it's going to help me a lot, because he really doesn't have the ability to mass reproduce like I do. So any unit that I manage to kill is probably okay. And not going to lie, I could probably honestly even sack most of this army into his army, and so long as I could kill even just half of it, I would probably still be winning, and it might have even accelerated the win. I guess I just was too conservative and didn't really want to risk losing my army, but I mean, honestly, I'm completely winning right now. I could have just went in for it, and it probably would have saved some time at least. Like, here, I'm even thinking about how I should try and approach his base, because, for example, if he tries to push up this hill, then I can try and push around down to his base. So, like, you see here, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can try and poke down this way. See, he's trying to come up here, or he was going to try and come up. Honestly, yeah, maybe I could have actually broke down. Yeah, that looked like an opportunity I could have went for. Trying to go straight down to his base, I mean. Yeah, I drop a Spirit Support now. Spirit Assault. I think it's called Spirit Assault, not Support. It is Support, but it's not called that. So I dropped that Cloaking Generator, and that's going to give me the ability to actually start aiming down his stuff again. It's actually funny, you look, you see all these 2- and 3-star units, I mean, it's honestly kind of funny. I'm starting to just slowly stack up these very veteranized units, and after a while I'm actually going to start to be able to actually fight him because of it. Now, his army got a little bit out of position. I managed to get down to his base, and with displacement, I'm going to be able to move them away. And again, here, I honestly think I should have just displaced half of his army. Now, in this particular case, I think it was okay, because he dropped the level 3 beam on me right after that, which did actually a good bit of damage. I mean, I was sitting on pretty much max pop there. But assuming he hadn't dropped that beam, and I mean, he hadn't yet, so I didn't know. So honestly, I should have probably just displaced like half of his army and fought the other half. probably just displaced at least the Hunter Captain. Because I'm not going to lie, that thing is freaking strong when you combine it with an actual army. Point where you actually need to be really careful. And you see he's kind of pushing into me again. At this point I thought he was kind of just sacking his army, but again, he's reluctant to give up. And I mean, I know his army is stronger than mine, but the fact that I can outrange and outmaneuver him is, I think, just kind of crushing. Like, you can see I can use that beam, and I did red bar some of his engineers. I red barred a Marauder as well, but it's not going to be enough. But as I keep lowering his numbers, eventually he's going to get to the point where I can actually fight his army directly, or I can just time him out because of supplies. And I'm basically just waiting to see which comes first, because something's going to happen here. Something's got to give eventually. Like, I mean, okay, he dropped a Reaper there, but that's... Honestly, even if he were just to get a free kill on one of my units every 30 seconds, that's not going to save him at this point. See, he's got combat repair working for him, and I'm not gonna lie, that combat repair is a really strong tool, but it just doesn't seem to be enough to compensate for the slowness and lack of mobility in general that his army has. See, I'm already sitting back on max pop, and since I'm on 3 bases, he just has nothing he can do, basically. So I think I'm going to teleport. Honestly, again though, like he has 4 Marauders. I honestly could probably just fight him here. I don't know why I really need to be running, but this does again prove the point that there's definitely something either overpowered about Shipmaster or underpowered about Colony, because if I can win by not even directly engaging his army, and I have the ability to win by directly engaging his army, that's some really red flags going up that something is broken about one of these leaders. Either one is really underpowered, one is really overpowered, or both. But yeah, you see, I even have the leader now because I'm just trying to get some extra troops out at this point, upgrading him just to make him a little stronger. And yeah, there's nothing really left that he can actually do at this point, because you see his army is getting pretty small now. I've been chipping off his pieces of his army left and right. I even go ahead and buy that base just because I'm like, okay, I'll just time you out. Yeah, I guess he's coming up to try and potentially take that base, but since I had at least claimed it, I'm probably not going to finish it. I was thinking about displacing some units. So I'm trying to get the displacement ring to hover there, and I do get some. And ironically, even though it's just an engineer and 2 Reavers, that's literally half of his army. Or not an engineer, a Banshee and 2 Marauders. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. So, let me know what you think about this, because I think that Colony, again, is underpowered because you can just outrange him. And I think this is pretty much why. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in another one. So take care.